You wake up and it's currently January 2026. You tell yourself that this year is going to be your best year yet. This year, you will achieve all your goals. You will achieve all your physical goals, financial goals, spiritual, emotional, mental goals.
Chantal, it's time to leave for Pilates.
But you also told yourself the same thing last year, January 2025. And you told yourself the same thing January 2024. And again in 2023. So, let me ask you, what's going to be the difference between you actually achieving your goals this year as opposed to last year and the previous years where you did not achieve your goals? What changes are you going to make this year to ensure that you actually achieve all your goals? Somehow you've convinced yourself that last year was just a bad year, not just for yourself, but for everybody. So let me ask you this. What is going to be the difference between you accomplishing your goals this year, 2026, as opposed to last year and the years before that when you didn't accomplish your goals? I'll wait. As someone that has been on multiple personal development journeys, working on myself throughout the past couple of years, it's one thing that I've learned that has really made an impact in my life. And I really implemented this last quarter of 2025, and it has really changed the way that I view my life and my reality. And it's this: if I don't plan, strategize, and execute my goals, there's a very, very high possibility that some of my goals might not actually come true. So this year, I'm going to continue to do the same thing that I did last quarter, which is to plan my year in quarters. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how I was able to plan, strategize, and execute my goals last quarter. Until then, I'm going to get home, get dressed, and jump right into the video. See you then. Alright, so let's jump right into step number 1, which is to create your goals. So the trick here, or at least for me, is to create goals based on categories that are important to me. So this can look like, specific to me, my finances are important, my physical health is important, my appearance is important, my spiritual growth is important, my career also very important, and my family and friends are quite important to me. So these are the 6 categories that I could choose from. For you, it could be slightly different. Maybe hobby is something that's important to you as well. Maybe traveling is important to you. Whatever categories that you deem important, write them down. Once you have all those categories written down, we're going to go ahead and write one goal from each category that you'd love to be able to accomplish within the next 2 to 3 months. So write that down. For me, if it's finances, I can see that within the next couple of months, I want to be able to create a savings account, or I'd love to be able to start investing. If it's social goals or family and friends, I'd love to be able to travel to see my mom or see my aunt or see my cousin, or I'd love to host an event this year. Another goal which is important to me is acquiring a new skill in my career that can allow me to get my job done more efficiently. For appearance, I could be creating a signature hairstyle, or maybe doing my nails more often. If it's physical health, it could be start going to the gym more often. Whatever it is that you'd like to accomplish within the next couple of months, write them down, but write them based on each category that is important to you. And then we'll move on to tip number 2. So once you have all these categories written down, we're then going to go ahead and break them down into small actionable items. I think this is where most of the work will be for you to really sit down and think about it. For example, if your goal is to have a savings account, I want you to break that down into 3 smaller steps. So one step could be researching, looking into different savings account. Another could be creating the savings account. And a third step is to start direct depositing money into that savings account whenever you get paid. So that could be the 3 steps that you want for your savings account. If you want to invest more, you can do the same: research, then create an investment account, and then start adding money to that investment account. And the same goes for physical health. Maybe you want to start going to the gym more often. You can research into what gym you want to look into. That can be the first step. The second step is to pay for the membership and start going. The third step could be creating a schedule that works for you. And this could take trial and error. But that would be your 3 steps for physical health. Appearance, if you want to start doing your nails more often, you can look into what nails are more efficient or what nails are more affordable. Then you can get the equipment needed for that. Or if it's something that you want to get at a salon, look into salons that are affordable near me. And then third and last would be to actually go to the salon and get it done on a reoccurring basis. So that is how I would suggest that you break down your goals into different categories. I'd love for you to pause the video right here and to actually attempt to do this on your own. If traveling is a category that is important to you, how can I break it down into 3 steps? 1 could be looking at my budget to see if I can actually travel this year. 2, writing down the 3 places that I'd love to be able to travel. And 3, booking flights to those places, and also maybe booking the hotel that you'd stay. I don't know. Break it down into actionable items that you can get done. All right, so I hope you were able to pause the video and actually write your goals down, and then go ahead and break them down into 3 steps. Once you have that done, we can move on to the 3rd step, which is to set a time frame for each goal. So we're going to go back to the example of finances. So let's say finances is a very important category for you, and a goal of yours that you'd like to accomplish within the 1st quarter is to create a savings account. First step is to research, and you can have that. For example, a time frame for that could be January the 9th, and a next goal is to create the savings account. You can have that be a goal for February 12th. The other goal that you can accomplish is to actually set up a direct deposit for that savings account. You can set this for March 15th, for example. What I would suggest is to split each goal into each month. That way you don't get too overwhelmed or too stressed. What I would also suggest as well, because I'm human and I procrastinate, I love to set my goals at the beginning of the month. That way if I push them, I still have wiggle room to get them done before the end of the month. I want you to pause and attempt to do that again. And once you're able to do that, you should have, based on the amount of category, goals for each month. So if you have 5 categories, you should have 5 goals for each month and the date for each goal for that month. So 5 goals for January, 5 goals for February, and 5 goals for March. If you have 5 categories. If you have 7, it's the same. 7 goals for January, 7 for February, and 7 for March. And then once you put them in the beginning of the month, life happens, things happen, you might have to move them around, then you'll be able to accomplish them hopefully by the end of each month. All right, so let's get into the 4th and final tip, and this is to create a mood board, or for some people it's a vision board. For years, I loved creating vision board, but as I get older and as I get more focused on my aesthetics, the presentation of my space is not so presentable to have a big cartridge board or a big styrofoam hanging over my wall. I don't think it's as presentable as I'd love for it to be. And so I've switched to now doing mood boards. So this is my mood board for 2025. This is what it looked like. I did split my goals into different categories and I created pictures for each category. Once I have the pictures, I organize them onto a board or a page, and I use that as my lock screen for both my iPad and my phone, and sometimes my desktop as well. That way I can have a visual representation of my goals and see what it looks like and work towards them. That's the purpose of having a vision board. So the whole point of having a mood board or vision board is to pretty much see your goals, to look at your goals each day as a reminder or motivation or encouragement to actually accomplish your goals. This isn't necessary for each person, but for me it was pretty helpful, especially when I would completely forget about my goals. When I open my iPad and take a second to look at the screen, I'd remember what each goal represents and why I need to get back on track, or at least refresh my memory to remember what the goal is that I set a couple months ago. So I think it's pretty helpful, and I would encourage you all to do the same. So right before we wrap up this video, I hope you were able to follow along, and I hope these steps were useful to you in some way. So that is what I recommend. However, while these goals will allow you to get a step closer towards achieving your goals, they aren't the only way to achieve your goals this year. Here's the kicker. In order to achieve your goals, it requires consistent reflection, planning, and discipline. It requires that you look at your goals, work towards them with discipline, and reflect as to why you were or were not able to get those goals accomplished. So that's why I have this channel in place. I've created this channel to share my journey of becoming the better or best version of myself, tips that I'm learning, strategies that I'm using to actually accomplish my goals. And I want to create a place for transparency and comfort for you and anybody else who wants to maximize this year. So if you're on a journey of becoming the best version of yourself, I recommend subscribing to this channel and looking out for videos that I will share in the near future as well. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.